Hello and welcome back to this episode where we are still in the far north of WA and we're going to do the Karunjie Track, which is situated just off the Pentecost River and heads around through some station country. If you look at this Google Maps, you'd think there's not much there, but if you look closely at one of the HEMA maps in their atlas, you'll see there's actually quite a lot to see along the way. So we go on the Karunjie Track, head over to Wyndham, round through Parry Lagoon Nature Reserve, through Kununurra and all the way down to Lake Argyle. The starting point for us was when we crossed the Pentecost River from Home Valley Station. The Karunjie Track is actually found on the eastern side of the Pentecost River. We stayed one night at the Pentecost, had a little bit of a look-see, saw some beautiful birds in the morning and that, and then started heading north along the river there. It's actually on private property, so we did ring the station owner to just sort of see what the condition was like. He did say not many people had been through and there were probably some really rough, bumpy sections, washouts of small creeks and that. So otherwise, we were welcome to give it a go. The entry gate marks the entry into station country, and it was by far one of our best experiences we've done, as we were the only people driving along there. The Cockburn Ranges in the background sets up a stunning display so that you really feel like you are in remote Australia. Now the Karunjie Track is actually only about 60 to 80 kilometres long, depends where you start I suppose, but it did take us about 4 hours to do, and you aren't really meant to camp along there because it is private property, so we started early in the day. washout area to go. Going up.
Quite a steep drop off on this side there, going around that corner.
Yeah, I can see that. Okay. Just here. I've zoomed in as much as I can. Grey, beautiful big grey birds there. The wetlands were teeming with bird life. We saw bush turkeys, finches, lots of egrets, herons, the odd jabiru and that. Gorgeous. And then it was the end. Well worth the drive, easily able to do in a day. The funny thing was we didn't actually see that opening sign at the beginning of the track, but it was definitely there at the end. After that, we headed off towards Wyndham. First stop was to check out some Aboriginal art paintings on some cave sites. Beautiful rock face here just out of Wyndham. Just up there to the right. And welcome to Wyndham. We stopped by the historical port area. Established in 1886, the port served as a major hub for the goldfields in Halls Creek. It now services as the only deep water port between Broome and Darwin. It exports cattle and mineral resources, but what's interesting is that it has an 8.2 metre tide, hence the raised jetties. There is one ruin left of the original town site that was built in 1886. This little one here with a lovely little tree growing out of it. We had actually hyped ourselves up thinking that we could get a counter meal in Wyndham. No, there is no pub there, but you could stock up on essential supplies. Instead, had a bit of a picnic lunch with the crocodile. Just outside of town, there is actually an Afghan cameleer cemetery where the life of cameleers have been celebrated for their important role in opening up this Kimberley region, and in particular the Wyndham area. And as we head to Kununurra, we go through Parry Lagoon Nature Reserve. This area has been set aside to preserve all the beautiful wetland birds that can be found in this area. You can get a great view when you go up to the top of Telegraph Hill, but it's a fantastic place for bird watching. The Wyndham Wireless Station was actually built here in 1914, just on top of a small hill here. There are remains of buildings that were used to house the people to operate the station. That was important to keep Perth connected to the rest of the world. It overlooks the Parry Reserve, and you can see the floodplains there that would be completely flooded in the wet season. And we're going to go down and check out some bird life. What's great down here is that they have lots of information boards to help you identify the different birds. And they have a couple of heights so that you can actually just sit there with your binoculars and enjoy. Find a way over the river, but we might not be so lucky. So as it was nearing dusk, we had to find a bit of a campsite, and we weren't going to camp inside Parry Lagoon because you're not allowed to. So we headed back to one of the main gravel roads and then just found a bit of a pull-in area just there. That was perfect. The road we travelled along was following along pretty much parallel to the Ord River. There were a few fish farms that were situated on the Ord River as popular places to go to do barramundi fishing. Really, we just enjoyed making sure we didn't hit the cows on the road. Along this back road towards Kununurra, there are a couple of little places that you could pull over for a bit of a picnic, maybe a bit of a refreshing swim, see a waterfall or something.
You see how it's actually, is it damp up there?
Yeah.
There's still water around at this time. Interesting.
Black Rock Pool is a little bit unique because you are literally surrounded by hundreds, millions of tiny little butterflies. Maiba, or more commonly known as Middle Spring, is another little waterhole that can be easily accessed from Kununurra. We chose the four-wheel drive shortcut between Black Rock Pool and Middle Spring. Just had to be a little bit careful of our windows.
Good wash.
That was not there. You should have gone that way. If you've buggered up that window, I'll be in trouble. And then we arrived at the infamous Ivanhoe River crossing. This crossing has had lots of photos taken of it. There's sometimes crocodiles in the way, very popular for people who visit to Kununurra. So yeah, here we go. And then we headed off down to Lake Argyle. And this is where we went in to visit the museum of the Argyle homestead. This homestead was built by the Durack family and relocated just after the Ord River dam was put into place, because the dam actually started to fill up way faster than they envisaged. And so they moved the whole homestead brick by brick to about 15 kilometres away from its original position. It's a testament to the pioneering spirit of the Durack family, and inside you will see lots of artefacts and information about the Aboriginal pastoral helpers and workers who are on the station, and also the family itself. We'd booked into the Lake Argyle Caravan Park because we'd actually decided that we were going to do one of the lake sunset cruises so that we could go up close, see crocodiles. The park was beautiful, lots of green open space. Yes, there's that beautiful iconic infinity pool that if you manage to get there at the right time of the day, which I don't think there is one, you can get a gorgeous photo of yourself with this gorgeous backdrop. Weather was a bit cold for me, so I didn't go in, but I still got the photo. And then we were off on our boat cruise. What a perfect way to end our Kimberley journey.
We do get one very big male hanging out in this cove, and males don't hang out together, so chances are it is a female croc. About 1.5 to 2 metres is maturity, or 15 to 20 years of age.
With glass-like water, the cruise was lovely. We had drinks, nibbles, lots of crocodiles. What more could you want? And then time to head back home. See you next time where we head to the Bungle Bungles. So thanks so much for watching our little video. We look forward to seeing you next time, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye.